In the previous videos, we discussed what hate-based violence is and why it happens. We also discussed being an upstander, someone who stands up for those being hurt and gets help when needed. It's up to all of us to be upstanders and step in when we see acts of hate. And because young people see, hear, and know things that adults do not, young people like you make excellent upstanders. One of the keys to being an effective upstander is knowing the warning signs that someone might be planning an act of hate-based violence. By learning how to recognize signs that a friend or peer is struggling, you can speak up and seek help to keep your community safe. Hate-based violence does not happen out of nowhere. There are almost always warning signs that someone is on a potential pathway to committing an act of violence. In addition to the warning signs you can observe, 94% of school attackers actually tell someone their plans in advance through verbal statements, text messages, or online posts. In this video, we're going to talk about how to recognize where someone is along the many potential pathways to violence and what the common warning signs are to watch out for. Then, in the next video, we'll discuss the various actions you can take to be an upstander in your community. First, let's talk about some potential pathways to hate-based violence. As we mentioned, people do not suddenly wake up one day and commit an act of hate-based violence. Hateful beliefs and behaviors typically evolve over time, gradually becoming more extreme and concerning. It's important to note that there is no one set pathway to violence. However, determining what stage someone is currently in helps you to decide when and how to take action. The best upstander action to take will depend on whether someone is in the thinking stage or the acting stage. Someone in the thinking stage is either feeling vulnerable or has started to adopt hateful beliefs. Someone in the vulnerable stage feels alone and lacks healthy social connections. Upstander actions here should focus on being a good friend. If someone seems vulnerable, try including them in social activities and speak up if you notice they are being mistreated. The second part of the thinking stage is the hateful ideologies step. This happens when someone starts adopting hateful beliefs or attitudes. You may even notice their behavior changing. Maybe they start posting hate symbols on social media or start using hateful language. Upstander actions here should focus on having a conversation with the person. You can ask this person if they are okay and let them know why something they said or shared is hateful. In short, the thinking stage is the perfect time to have a conversation with someone or include them in activities if they seem to be left out. We'll talk more in our next video about some specific upstander actions you can take to help someone in the thinking stage. Someone in the acting stage moves beyond simply having hateful thoughts to acting on these hateful beliefs. At this stage, the person is motivated and planning an attack fueled by their beliefs. In the worst case, they may engage in an act of hate-based violence. The best upstander action when you notice someone in the acting stage is to seek help from a trusted adult. Someone who has reached any of the 3 steps at the acting stage needs support beyond a simple conversation. If you notice a peer who seems to be acting strangely, especially if they are planning an attack, seek help from a trusted adult right away. In our next video, we'll talk more about how to seek help. As we noted earlier, there are many different potential pathways someone could take towards hate-based violence. No one person's pathway to violence is the same, and oftentimes their path isn't linear. This means a person doesn't usually move from one stage to the next smoothly. For example, someone might be planning an attack in the acting stage and then decide not to act, returning back to the thinking stage. It's important to keep an open dialogue with friends or peers to notice changes in their attitudes or behaviors over time. No matter what stage someone falls into along the various potential pathways to violence, there are some common warning signs to look out for. If you see any of these 10 warning signs, tell a trusted adult. 1. Saying that violence is a good way to solve problems. 2. Expressing hatred or violent anger towards specific groups. 3. Wearing, sharing, or drawing symbols associated with hate groups. 4. Sharing hate-based content such as jokes, memes, or song lyrics. 5. Praising past events of hate-based violence. 6. Posting photos with weapons outside of a hobby such as hunting. 7. Unusual behavior that seems like a person is planning an attack. 8. Actions or words that seem like a goodbye. 9. Writing a manifesto, which is a written statement about someone's reasons for using violence. 10. Sharing specifics about a potential attack against a person, group, or place. These last 4 warning signs are especially time sensitive. If you notice someone who seems to be saying goodbye or planning an attack, tell an adult immediately. In these cases, it's also a good idea to call 911 or another local reporting helpline, such as those found on the Prevention Practitioners Network National Directory. You can locate these resources on our Upend Hate website. These are some of the most common and concerning warning signs that someone may be on a pathway to hate-based violence. However, these are not the only signs. If you notice a friend or peer is acting differently, trust your instincts. Don't wait to speak up. Getting help and support for someone is always the right call. And remember that being an upstander does not mean fixing the problem all by yourself. You never need to upend hate alone. Being an upstander should never come at the cost of your own safety or mental well-being. Part of being an upstander is learning to recognize where someone is along the potential pathways to hate-based violence. Understanding what stage someone is currently in helps you to decide the best upstander action to take. By learning how to recognize signs that a friend or peer is struggling, you can speak up and seek help to keep everyone in your community safe. For more information on how to notice when someone is turning to hate and what other potential pathways to violence may look like, please visit our Upend Hate website and join us in our next and final video where we'll go over specific actions you can take as an upstander in upending hate.